The Durham report finally arrived, and it's an embarrassing failure. So why are the Republicans getting a media win out of it? Quick backstory. A few months ago, as the Durham special counsel investigation started blowing up in Republican faces, I set out to create a video that would explain three things. Where did this come from? What was the Durham investigation about? And why it had turned so bad for Trump and the Republicans. But before I could get the video out, the media stopped paying attention to the fact that this was a massive, failed Trump cover-up operation, because that's what they do. So I put it on the shelf. But now we're bringing it back, because John Durham just finished his investigation and put out a report. It's a total sham, a failure. And yet they're still getting exactly what they want out of it from the lapdog media. So hang on, because in this video, we want to show you exactly what we mean. Let's start by going through those 3 points. Where this all came from, what Trump was trying to achieve, and why things collapsed. By the way, you'll notice that I changed my background since I shot the first part of this. If you like my new one, let me know. Let's get into it. Let's start out by quickly reminding ourselves what this Durham thing is and why it exists in the first place. It all comes from Trump trying to somehow bluff his way out of the Russia scandal. Trump has a deep history of ties to Russia, going back decades. It's been well documented that the KGB began cultivating him as an asset way back in 1977. The writer Greg Olear outlined just how extensive all of this was.
Began in 1980 at an electronics store in New York City, where Trump was going to buy TVs, was known to be or thought to be like a hub of Soviet intelligence. His Trump Tower starts selling condos to known conduits to Russian organized crime figures.
He was laundering money for the Russian mob, cavorting with Russian intelligence agents, and making sweet love to Ivan Drago. Okay, I made up that last one, but you get the point. When Trump started running for president in 2015, there were already a lot of questions about what was up with him and Russia. And as usual, he tried to put out that fire by throwing dynamite on it.
Donald Trump is gushing again over Vladimir Putin.
If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him.
I have no doubt that Putin thinks that he's an unwitting agent of the Russian Federation.
In 2016, Russia mounted a massive operation to make Trump president.
The thing we always forget to talk about, which is just how insidious and well organized the Russians were in screwing with the 2016 election. The Mueller report makes it clear that this effort was designed to benefit Donald Trump through Russian social media campaigns and a hacking campaign that stole documents.
And at the same time, that year, Trump and at least 17 of his campaign officials and advisors had more than 100 contacts with Russian operatives.
The Republican-led Senate Intelligence Committee releasing its final report, declaring the 2016 Trump campaign had repeated contacts with Russian operatives. The report saying Paul Manafort, Trump's campaign chairman, represented a grave counterintelligence threat, determining he gave polling information to Konstantin Kilimnik, who the committee describes as a Russian intelligence officer.
Oh, and then just one more thing to add to the mix.
He fired Comey because Comey was investigating the Russia ties. And the day after he fired Comey, he let 2 Russians into the Oval Office. Kislyak and Lavrov was laughing with them like they were old buddies and bragging about how he was off the hook.
At this point, around 2017 through 2018, 2 things were crystal clear. 1, Russia attacked America to put their guy in charge and to get a massive haul of benefits, which they did. And 2, Donald Trump and his allies at the very best played along, covered up, lied, and went to prison for it. To really boil it down, Russia attacked us. Trump took their side. So in the face of this mountain of evidence, there was only one thing for Trump to do. DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender.
Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. All right, let's role play. You be your accusers and I'll be you. You illegally damage property and make your business. You damage property to make your business more profitable, you lying sack of shit. I'm not going to be bullied by you. See? It's really not that hard. Just takes a little chin wiggle.
Step 1 was deny. And we probably remember what that sounded like.
Russia is fake news. This is fake news put out by the media.
Next, Trump trotted out his faithful minion and stay-puffed Marshmallow Man lookalike Attorney General William Barr to flat out lie about what the Mueller investigation had found. So that was the deny. But how to attack and reverse victim and offender? That is where John Durham comes in. Trump allies concocted an exotic conspiracy theory that rather than getting caught red-handed, see what I did there? Trump was actually the victim, Now, I don't want to get into all the details of this because that's their goal. For us to get lost in a hazy mix of semi-relevant facts, irrelevant details, and total fantasy. That's how disinformation works. But here's what they claimed in a nutshell.
Okay, here's what we've got. The Rand Corporation, in conjunction with the Saucer People, thank you, under the supervision of the reverse vampires, are forcing our parents to go to bed early in a fiendish plot to eliminate the meal of dinner. We're through the looking glass here, people.
Actually, the Trump theory came down to this. Use Russian disinformation to make up the entire Russia-Trump story. No word on whether the reverse vampires were involved. I do want to be clear here because unlike Trump and his cronies, we actually accept facts and evidence. The FBI did make mistakes in its investigation of the Trump campaign. And some of the more outlandish claims about Trump that made their way into the media were flimsy or bogus. But that doesn't change anything. There was an entire, exhaustive, multi-year investigation by a Republican-appointed inspector general under William Barr that found that there was no political bias in starting the FBI investigation into Trump, and that investigating him was entirely proper.
A highly anticipated report 2 years in the making, the Inspector General found that when the FBI secretly opened an investigation into possible Russian influence of the Trump campaign in July 2016, it followed the rules about launching that kind of case. The report said it found no evidence of political bias and said the FBI had a legitimate purpose in looking at whether there was a threat to national security.
That's what the Durham investigation was all about. They wanted to distract and confuse by making it look like there was something more waiting to be found. They found a great frontman for it. John Durham was a well-regarded Connecticut U.S. attorney. He gave the whole look into the origins of the Russia story some legitimacy. But pretty soon, the whole concocted story began to unravel.
The Times reports that after nearly 4 years, Durham's work is coming to an end without uncovering anything like the deep state plot alleged by former President Trump and suspected by Bill Barr. What the Times did find, the Durham probe became, quote, roiled by internal dissent and ethical disputes as it went unsuccessfully down one path after another.
They went through the CIA's files, chasing conspiracy theories that there had been some kind of intelligence op targeting the Trump campaign, and just came up with nothing. And so by the summer of 2020, the original animating basis of that investigation had reached a dead end, yet they did not close up shop, but turned to a new justification that is hunting for a basis to accuse Hillary Clinton and her campaign for the fact that Trump came under suspicion for collusion with Russia in order to keep going.
When Trump tried to sue Hillary Clinton on the basis of his whole conspiracy theory, a federal judge not only laughed him out of court, but called the lawsuit frivolous and fined him $1 million for wasting the court's time with bullshit.
A federal judge in Florida has imposed a nearly $1 million fine against former President Donald Trump and one of his lawyers. The sanction was for filing a, quote, frivolous lawsuit against Hillary Clinton and others. The judge ordered Trump and his lawyer, Alina Habba, to cover the legal costs for Clinton and the 30 other defendants linked to the case.
And that brings us up to the present. Donald Trump's appointed inspector general spent 2 years investigating and found that there was no political bias in the FBI investigation into his campaign ties with Russia. The Durham smokescreen intended to relitigate that question totally failed. It found absolutely nothing. And Durham's number 2 prosecutor resigned in disgust at the whole blatant political smokescreen exercise. And the attempt boomeranged on Donald Trump and caused him to be fined for making stuff up. These are the facts, and they are not in dispute. So when John Durham issued his final report and it essentially tried to ignore all that and reignite the Trump cover story, you would think that the media's reaction would be to recognize that Durham was like one of those isolated Japanese soldiers who refused to believe that World War II was over. And they would ignore any last futile attempts to again spin Trump's fantasy cover story about a conspiracy out to get him. Nope. A handful of stories got it right, but for the most part, they fell right into Trump's trap. Again, they reported Durham's findings as straight news. The Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, PBS, CBS, NBC, and of course, not surprisingly, CNN may have been the dumbest. Some of them ran a little analysis that provided context, and MSNBC tried its level best to tell the truth. But just look in this interview at the contrast between that and when they cut to what the Fox News folks are saying.
Durham found nothing new. His 2 prosecutions failed, and the projections and hopes and dreams that Trump and his allies had were an absolute dud. Let me show you Fox's reaction.
Yeah, it is outrageous that this happened. And it is arguably worse than Watergate.
They stole 4 years of a presidency, and they tried to undermine and overthrow democracy.
They need to appoint a loyalist as FBI director.
And that's what we mean when we say that the Republican investigation bullshit industrial complex is alive and well, turning out smog, and as always, the media is falling for it. As usual, a total failure of an investigation is getting them all the headlines and all the fodder for Fox News that they want. And by the way, in the last 4 years, Fox News ran 2,400 segments on Durham on weekdays alone. They know that they can rely on right-wing media to sell the propaganda and mainstream media to act like stenographers and straight report whatever they say with a little Republicans say this and Democrats say that thrown in to make it seem like they're even-handed. The good news, if there's any, is that you're watching this video. Thank you. What all of us can do is to share things like this. And by the way, subscribe to channels like Blue Amp, which we'd really appreciate, so that all of us collectively can do the job that the media is supposed to be doing.